Hi everyone, Miss Hall here. Today we're going to be working on our very first sewing project. We are going to be making our very own monster pillows. What I love about these is that they're super easy to make. Sewing is a really important life skill that it's always helpful to know how to do. And it just takes a few simple steps. So we're going to start today by pinning them, and then we're going to talk our way through how to thread a needle, how to do a running stitch, and how to tie the whole thing together. So let's jump in.
All right, everyone. So today we are going to be working on our monster pillows. They're so squishy. You can choose if you want to make yours cute or scary, your choice. But for our first part of this video, we're going to talk about how to pin everything and get all of your materials together. That way you can set yourself up for success. Look at them. I think they're so cute. I gave mine a little crown, but you can give yours whatever you would like. So I'm going to put him over to the side. Now let's talk about all the stuff that you are gathering today. So you are going to need your tray. This is where you're going to keep all of your items. You'll notice that there's a piece of tape here where your name is going to go. You might not have the piece of tape yet. I might need to make my way around with it, but that is where you're going to write your name. You also are going to pick up 2 of these big rectangles and 4 of these small rectangles. The big ones will be the body. The small ones will be the arms and the legs. You're going to need 4 of these pins that we're going to use to help secure our monsters. So I'm going to pick those out now. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're also going to need 1 needle, which we're going to talk about how to use here in a second. You'll notice that I also have scissors. You will probably be needing those later, but for right now you need your big rectangles, small rectangles, tray, 4 pins, and 1 needle. I'm also going to write my name on this piece of tape. That way we know that this one belongs to me. So you want to think about this like you're piecing it together. So I'm going to start with one of my big rectangles, and I'm going to pick up my arms and my legs. And you want to think about, okay, my arms are going to go out to the side, and my legs are going to come down to the bottom. Notice that I have them sitting on top of my fabric and they're overlapping. If I were to put them all the way out to the edge like this, there wouldn't be anything for me to sew together. So I need to make sure that they're overlapping like this. Now I want to think about, what do I want the ends of my hands and my feet to look like? And I want them to be the same. I want them to be symmetrical. So I'm going to pick up both of my hands. And I think on my hands, I want to make them have claws, like pointy fingers. So I have them stacked on top of each other. And I'm just going to cut off some triangles. So I'm going to snip both of them at the same time. Pull those off. And now you'll see that I'm starting to cut away. So I'm going to cut away another triangle. And I'm going to keep all these little scraps of fabric because those are going to be really helpful for me later when I'm adding on details. So now I have 2 that have pointy fingers, so I'll put them right there. Now for the feet, I could do the same thing. I could do the zigzags, or I'm going to stack them on top of each other. I'm going to cut 2 arches or 2 rainbow shapes. So I'm going to go nice and round. You'll notice I didn't draw it first. Think about it like you're drawing with your scissors. And then I'm going to do another one, just the same, another little bump like this, almost like the top of a heart, because I stacked them on top. Now I have 2, and those will be my little feet. And again, I'm just going to take my little scraps, put them over to the corner because I can use those later. So now we need to think about, how are we going to pin these things together so that way I can start to sew them. And this might get a little bit confusing, but just go with me on this one. So what we're going to do is, you'll notice that on my finished monster, you can't see the stitching. It's been turned inside out. So we're going to pin these things so that way the monster is inside out. And then when we're done sewing, we'll flip him right side out and you won't be able to see those stitches. So I'm going to take my 2 legs, and I'm going to flip them up inside of my rectangle. Notice that this edge is lining up right here. And I'm going to do the same thing with my arms. I'm going to flip them right inside. And it's okay if they're sitting on top of the legs or if things are touching. You just want to make sure that you have them where you want them and that they're touching this edge right here. So now, almost like a sandwich, I'm going to take my other big rectangle and I'm going to place it right on top. And it's okay if they aren't exactly the same. We're going to sew them together so you won't be able to see those differences. In fact, what I think I might do for this one is flip it around, because I think that they're a little bit closer that way. There we go. So I have my monster sandwich, and now it's time to start pinning. This is where your 4 pins come in, and 4 pins are all you're going to need. So what you want to think about doing is you're securing these pieces of fabric together so that while you're sewing them, things don't move around or get weird. So what you're going to do with your pin, you'll notice they are a little bit pointy, but they won't hurt you, is you're going to, on the short side, I'm going to stick my pin in right through that little arm that I added on there. So I stuck my pin in there, and then I'm going to push my pin out the other side so it's laying nice and flat. And you'll notice that if I look on the side, it connected all 3 of those pieces together. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to stick my pin in through all 3 of those pieces of fabric, push it out the other side, let it lay nice and flat. Now I'll do the same thing on the bottom. I'm going to stick my pin in right where that leg is, out the other side, let it rest. And then I'm going to stick my pin in on this one as well. Stick it in, push it out the other side. And now I have my 4 pins going all the way around. I can pick up my project, things won't move around, they're nice and secure and all ready for me to sew.